That's where we're going to begin this morning with these new concerns about a coronavirus resurgence as we head into this holiday weekend.
The CDC says nationwide new cases rose 10% over the last week. A quarter of those cases are being linked to what doctors are now calling the hyper-transmissible Delta variant. The rise comes as millions of Americans get ready to celebrate the 4th of July with pre-pandemic level traffic expected on the roads and at airports. The country is on track to fall short of the president's 70% vaccination goal by July 4th, which is, of course, only 2 days away.
The Delta variant is predicted to be the second most prevalent variant in the United States, and I expect that in the coming weeks it will eclipse the Alpha variant. Any suffering or death from COVID-19 is tragic. With vaccines available across the country, the suffering and loss we are now seeing is nearly entirely avoidable.
Now, AAA predicts that a record 48 million Americans will be traveling over this holiday weekend despite concerns over the Delta variant.
If you're comfortable traveling by plane or going on a cruise, then, have at it. We do recommend, follow CDC guidelines, and it would be better if you're fully vaccinated before you go.
Let's bring in NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel. Dr. Patel, who I think would very much agree with that last point that you should probably be vaccinated before you go and do something like that. So let's talk about this. Knowing how fast the Delta variant is spreading, do you think it's safe to travel this holiday weekend? I mean, we just heard there from AAA, have at it. But what do you think? Or are we risking a resurgence of the virus?
Yeah, good morning, Savannah. You are absolutely right that if you are unvaccinated, you should get vaccinated. And if you're unvaccinated, I'll double down and say you are the one most at risk of having not only yourself as an individual be sick, but potentially becoming a spreader and causing the resurgence. So if you are fully vaccinated and 2 vaccine doses or 1 vaccine dose with Johnson & Johnson, you are protected from the Delta variant. What we don't know, Savannah, is, but we believe that if you are vaccinated, that you're less likely or not likely at all to give it to someone, even if you don't have symptoms. But we're still waiting for that data. So I think if you're in a mixed household where you're vaccinated, your kids aren't, or someone else is not, you have to kind of just think about adapting your plans. But if you're fully vaccinated, you can be confident that the vaccine will keep you safe. Now, let's be clear, it keeps you safe from hospitalization and death, which is very important. If you're personally worried about even just being positive without symptoms because you're just concerned about what that means for you as an individual, then of course it makes sense to avoid crowded areas that are indoors with people who you do not know are if they're vaccinated or not, and if they're not wearing masks. So I think that's how you need to approach the weekend. You're safe, but it depends on how much appetite for risk you have as an individual, how safe you want to celebrate.
And doctor, you mentioned those mixed households. So if you are one of those 48 million people that AAA is predicting is traveling and you have, let's say, young kids who are unvaccinated, what are some things that those families can do to stay safe?
Yeah, treat your kids as you would have before you were vaccinated. And that includes you, just because the behavior should be even. You are protected as a parent or family member if you're vaccinated, but they need to be masked. And it's also just a good idea for you to be masked so that they see and model the behavior. They should opt for, if you're in a plane or in a train, they should make sure that they do not take their mask off, even if it's to eat or drink. Try to do that before you get on the plane. And then also try to just make sure you have few points of contact with people who you don't know their vaccine status. That's it. We know that they're enforcing masks at public transportation sites, but Savannah, I've been to airports, you've been to airports. It's not totally even. So treat the situation like it could be high risk by keeping them masked, keeping them distanced. And just remember, outdoors, even if you're taking your kids someplace to celebrate fireworks, outdoors is great. Watching fireworks outdoors, if possible, with open air circulation is the best thing you can do, and to be safe and have fun.
All right. Well, there you go. That does sound fun. And doctor, now as we talk about this and as these concerns with the Delta variant keep getting more and more heightened, we know that we're really seeing these resurgence in these pockets where people are not vaccinated. And at the same time, the U.S. is likely to fall short of the president's July 4th vaccination goal. How concerned are you by that, and what needs to be done? How can we keep ticking up in our vaccination rate?
Yeah, I'm very sobered by the statistics the CDC shared that a third of U.S. counties, that's 1,000 counties in the United States, that have very low vaccination rates, to your point. So I do think that we need to start, honestly, we need to start taking this neighbor to neighbor. You know, we don't need to shame people, but we just need to try to kind of model, I got vaccinated. Hey, have you been vaccinated? Do you have any concerns? Talk about your experience. You don't need to be a doctor to talk about your personal experience. And then also, if that person is willing, I actually would recommend people take them to a site that can get vaccinated. The best way we're going to do this is one-on-one. I also think that any health professionals listening, start asking about vaccine status almost as part of a vital sign. When you're checking a person's blood pressure, asking about their heart, checking their heart rate, asking about any symptoms they're having, just say, and have you had the COVID vaccine yet? And then without any judgment, just start talking through, hey, do you have any questions? So this is a great weekend to encourage Americans to walk into any one of our clinics or pharmacies and try to advocate to help them and remind people individualism does not end a pandemic. We're going to do it by acting as a community. And we're lucky, Savannah, we have vaccine, as you heard, all across the country available. But if we continue at this pace, if we do not continue to fight to get more Americans vaccinated and fight the myths and misinformation, there are models that estimate that we could see as many as 32 million more people infected over the next year, and those will largely be unvaccinated individuals.
Yeah, and Dr. Patel, just to push that point one more time, there's also the stat that 99% of COVID deaths right now are in unvaccinated people. Can you just remind us of that importance of the vaccine in terms of it really preventing that serious illness and death?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can just tell you personally, one of the deaths we've seen in our hospitals in the last 2 weeks, all unvaccinated, and even severe hospitalizations, all unvaccinated individuals. So the 3 vaccines that we currently have been almost 100%. It's stunning. I've never seen a vaccine that performs this way. 100% at preventing death and close to 100% at preventing, to your point, serious hospitalization. So the most common pushback I get when people don't want to get vaccinated, and I cite that statistic, is they say, well, I'm young and I'm healthy. I'm not going to die anyway. And I'm here to tell you, even young, healthy people are part of that statistic. So you are not immune, even if you think you're young and healthy, from the coronavirus.
Part of that statistic, and they are a growing number of that statistic. Yeah. Dr. Patel, thank you so much, and happy 4th.
You too.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.